Hey guys, welcome back to the Lawn Road Podcast. My name is Gabe Gooden. I'm the owner of Kaleo Lawncare, and I'm on the lawn road to building the best residential lawn care company in Colorado Springs. And this podcast is my way of documenting that journey. So, if you guys are new to the podcast, welcome. If you guys are returning, thanks for being a part of this. I'm excited to see this grow and for us to start engaging with one another and building better businesses. So, today this is really just me going to be spitting out ideas that I've been having. It's 2025. We're a few months out from the season starting, and this is my time to focus on how I'm going to increase growth in 2025. And I have a few ideas, but there's a few that I really want to kind of talk about today and brainstorm and hopefully get the ball rolling in your minds as you guys ponder, I assume, the same question, like how can we do better this year from last year? So where I kind of ended off 2024, I had about 42 properties. Half of those were individual clients. The other half was a combination of rental property companies. And the combined revenue of that was pretty good. The margins were okay. There were a lot of business costs just from first year in business that I'm not going to have to renew next year. So overall, it wasn't a terribly profitable season after paying myself, but I was able to pay myself a decent amount, enough to live on, and I have a little bit left over to get through the winter. So it's all working out fine. But I need to do better than that next year, right? The company's not going to grow at the rate that I ended at last year. So I need to dial in on what are the key components of growth in this industry. What's going to be the most beneficial for my company specifically with my business model, my brand, what my goals are, and then how to implement those ideas. I'll start with the first one. The first one that I've been really just pondering, and this is a huge part to any lawn care business is route density. All right, so how close together are the properties? And a friend of mine who owns not a lawn care company, but a different company in town kind of drove this home because he does detailing work for houses, and he's always trying to minimize windshield time, right? Because you're just bleeding money at that point. You have people driving around, you still have to pay them, but they're not bringing in any revenue. So how do you minimize your drive spend? And it's by getting properties closer together. And I knew this. You always play that game in your mind when you mow 4 properties in the same neighborhood. And you're like, I just made $200 in an hour. I make $200 an hour. You know what I mean? And that always feels really good. And I had 2 of those neighborhoods last season where one had 4 in a row, one had 3 in a row. And I would always kind of just pat myself on the back and be like, come on, Gabe. But that was it. The rest of my properties were pretty spread out, and there was a lot of drive time. And for myself, when I'm just paying myself, and there aren't a lot of, what's the word? Operational expenses, it's not a huge deal. I'm not getting paid hourly. I'm paying myself what I can. Next year, I am paying myself a weekly salary, and I'm also paying the new tech a weekly salary. So I need to cram, essentially get as much revenue in those 40 hours a week as I can. And in the industry that we're all in, obviously it's terribly competitive in some sense, and it's incredibly dense and saturated. There's a lot of people doing this. So pricing is a huge part of this business. And it's not all, in a lot of industries, well, just raise your price by 5%, and so you raise your margins by 5%, or whatever that adds up to be. But in the lawn care industry, a 5% difference is actually fairly significant. So I have to figure out how to increase my hourly or my daily or weekly revenue a different way, and that, I believe, just comes down to volume. How many properties can I service in a week? How many properties can my tech service in a week? And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And here's been my train of thought recently. So the original business model for this next season was to hire somebody on at a weekly salary. They have a full schedule Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is reserved for team meetings, rig maintenance, and then if we get rained out, one of the If we get rained out one day, Monday through Thursday, we have a week or we have a free day on Friday to make up those properties. And I did this because in the past, the companies that I've worked for, we had a full week, 5 days a week. And if somebody got skipped because of rain, if we could fit them in at the end of the Friday, we would. If not, they were just off a week. And we'd come back to this terribly overgrown property. And that usually caused quite a bit of conflict with the client. So that's something I've been trying to avoid. And up to this point, I've been willing to take a bit of a revenue cut to ensure pleased and satisfied customers. However, running numbers, I realized the majority of money is made on Friday. And what do I mean by that? 40 properties a week is not enough. 40 properties breaks even, and at least in my current situation. Friday would be straight profit. Okay? So, does that kind of make sense? So, if I can make whatever it is, Monday through Thursday is paying bills. It's paying payroll, it's paying expenses, insurance, workers' comp, everything. Friday would be just over the ledge, and everything on Friday would be profit. So now I'm stuck. Like, I just realized that yesterday, running numbers a little more in depth, and realized I'm not gonna be profitable without Fridays. But I really don't want to do that. So my current goal is to figure out, can I just squeeze in another 10 properties throughout the week? Can we do 12 properties a day instead of 10? That's kind of where I'm at. And the only way to do that is route density. Okay? The only way to fit more properties in 8 hours is to have them closer together. If it takes 30 minutes to cut a property, but then 20 minutes to drive to the next one, well, you could squeeze a property in there, right? And do 2 that hour instead of 1. So, with that being said, that not completely, but that changes my vision and where my focus is at for the next few months. When it comes to marketing, it makes it really clear, like there's not a lot of discussion on how my marketing can go. I got to pick the neighborhoods that I have the biggest presence in and just triple my marketing in those neighborhoods because that's where the most revenue is, right? So these neighborhoods where I have 4 clients or 3 clients, I need 8 clients in those neighborhoods. I need those neighborhoods to be Kaleo neighborhoods, right? So that has to be my goal because there's no other it's a volume based industry. Our average ticket is between our average ticket value is between probably $30 and $60 per cut, right? There's not a whole lot of room to move around in that price point. So it's not the pricing that matters as much as just how many yards can I do. And to some of you, this may just seem, well, duh. But it needs to be a reminder because that's what drives all the other aspects of the business is how do I capitalize on that neighborhood, and how do I evaluate which neighborhoods I want to be in. There's just more focus once we dial in our goal of route density. So that's probably been the biggest one. Now, the second one that I've been focusing on more than anything is a theme that I saw while reading a bunch of biographies and autobiographies and just reading the stories of essentially America's, or not America's, but the world's most successful business owners or entrepreneurs. And there's this great podcast called Founders where this guy reads books and then summarizes them for you in a 20-minute podcast. Really appreciate you. I've been listening to you for a while, and I've gained a lot of value from that. So a lot of these, I'm talking like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Edwin Land, the IKEA guy, Elon's a big one. Let's see. Walmart guy, Sam Walton. Incredible story. But I'm not going to get into all their stories, of course. But as I'm reading and listening and hearing about all their stories, the one reoccurring theme in all of their success is their obsession with cutting cost. Okay, I think Sam Walton said something like, it doesn't matter how much money you can make if you can't save any of it. Right? If I make $200,000 a year, but I spend $200,000 a year, well, nothing matters. So businesses grow based on how much money they can save, not how much money they can make. Okay, and every metaphor or everything like that kind of fizzles out, but the concept is there and it makes sense. So along with volume and trying to increase my volume, how can I do it the most financially efficiently. Okay, with the most financial efficiency is a better way to say that, I guess. And on a bigger scale, that starts with what's my rig look like? Okay, what can I get by with that is still attractive, that still works well and is reliable, but I don't need the newest truck, right? It blows my mind when I see companies, especially smaller companies, investing the money in a brand new truck. You don't need it. It's not a necessity. That money could be better spent in marketing, right? So that you can buy more trucks. At least that's my thought on this. So how can I get by with spending the least amount of money on the rig? And if you guys go back a couple of episodes, you'll hear my views or my ideas about the vans, the lawn care van idea, and my reasoning for that. And the biggest reason for that is cutting cost. And then just what kind of software am I paying for? Is there a way to do it for free? Is there a way to functionally use a free CRM rather than paying $2,000 a year, which is what I'm currently doing. And when it comes to CRMs, I do think you get what you pay for with those. We can talk about that later. I'll tell you what I use. Gas mileage, right? Another big pro with the van is you get twice the miles per gallon. That we spend a lot of money on gas in the lawn care industry, right? I drive over 7,000 miles a season. That's a lot. So gas is a huge component of that. Tools. What tools am I buying? Am I buying battery powered tools, which I do? Those batteries are going to need to be replaced over time. So how can I use them efficiently and take good care of them so I can extend the life of these tools? And then there's this stuff, like this was a big one at the company I used to work for, but every morning we would start off by stopping at the gas station and grabbing food or whatever. And that's not just money for the food and the drinks, that's also just paid time that's not bringing in revenue. So what rules are you going to set for yourself and for your crew to minimize unnecessary spend? There's other elements to this, but those are the big ones in my opinion. I mean, a couple others are like, okay, fertilizer. Where am I buying my fertilizer? Can I buy it in bulk rather than buy the individual bags? Same with mulching, doing rock deliveries. Can I invest in a trailer so I can deliver it myself rather than paying $300 per trip to have somebody else deliver it? There's so many ways to cut cost, and I think that is incredibly important. And I think Sam's absolutely right when he says it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's how much money you have left over. So those two things, route density or volume, how much work can I do, how much revenue can I bring in, combined with how much of that money that comes in can I keep, can I save, can I avoid spending on the production of the company. I think if I can narrow both of those down and dial those in, that's where companies grow. That's how companies scale. And so that's been my approach recently is I'm evaluating everything I spent. I spent hours yesterday going through every transaction I had, and there were thousands of them, I think, or maybe 8,000 of them from last year. Just so much money went out. And evaluating all these expenses and determining whether or not they were necessary, whether or not I need to invest in those things again next year. The phrase goes, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? So I would encourage all of you guys, yes, spend time focusing on making money. Spend just as much, if not more time on focusing on how to save the money. It's easy when a lot of money's coming in, it's easy to let a lot of money go out because it's just going to be there again next week. But that number is never going to grow unless you decrease your spend. So that's what I've been thinking about. I hope that is thought-provoking to you guys. I think those are the two biggest components in growing our lawn care businesses next year or this 2025 season. As my ideas solidify and my goals kind of straighten out, I'm happy to share those with you guys as I kind of figure out where I'm going to land on these topics. But until now, I just want to share with you guys what I'm thinking about and what you guys, at least what I believe you guys should be thinking about as we enter into the new season. So, hope you guys enjoy. If you guys want to be a part of this vision to building a community of lawn care business owners who are all focused on building better businesses for our clients and providing the best product possible, I invite you guys to join this. It's small right now. You guys are getting in on the ground floor. But feel free to follow me on the podcasting platforms, social media at either Kaleo Lawncare or at the Lawn Road Pod. I'd love to talk to you guys and discuss these ideas. Yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed week. Keep crushing it. And yeah, bye.